If you like superhero comics, a lot of people say that Invincible is arguably the best superhero comic currently being written. And I have to say, I absolutely love Invincible. And it's so funny to think that the guy who is writing The Walking Dead, literally No Way Out, as he's talking about, everybody knows, I think, that at the end of The Walking Dead, everyone will die.
Well, I believe Kirkman himself has pretty much said as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, it is truly hopeless. That's not to say that the stories can't be incredibly engaging. You know, in a if we want to really get philosophical, we can say all of us are going to die. So
well, that's what it is. I mean, that's what so much. This is going off on a tangent that we could devote a whole podcast to, and maybe we will. But you know, a lot of zombie stories, that's what it is. It's the zombie is a metaphor for death. That none of us can escape death, and a zombie is literally walking death, and it is, you know, you can survive for a length of time, but ultimately you are going to die. So,
and
moving on.
Well, and getting back to Invincible, it's another interesting point that, in fact, in many ways, superhero comics are the opposite. They are life.
True.
In fact, they have outlived their creators in all of the cases of these early comic heroes. Invincible, of course, is a newer comic. It began at the same year as Walking Dead in 2003, but the character Mark, the young man who is invincible, he's going to live an amazingly long life. He's going to live for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yes.
So, in fact, Invincible is a story of life. And Invincible 3, this collection, it collects, I believe, like 20 issues, 25 to 35. Not quite a year's worth because, as you mentioned with The Walking Dead, Kirkman sometimes and deadlines are not the best of friends. But again, a great arc, like the first one, the first Ultimate Collection. There's some surprises there. Some characters come back from Ultimate Collection, from Invincible 2, Invincible 1. Again, you know, Mark is such a good guy. He's just trying to live his life. He's trying to have a girlfriend. He's trying to go to school. He's trying to balance being a young adult and living a young adult life with being a superhero. And Kirkman does it really well. And at the same time, it's this very positive comic. You know that he's always going to do the right thing. But at the same time, it's not easy for him. And he does screw up. And he does do the wrong thing. And it really tortures him.
Sure.
I mean, when he does the wrong thing, I mean, it really resonates in his head, much like, you know, a young person who does something wrong and feels really guilty about it. And I can't talk about Invincible without giving mad props to Ryan Ottley, who is just an amazing artist. He does just spectacular art, and the art...
He does. I love him as an artist. I think he's an inspiration of mine. I have to admit, I follow him on DeviantArt, and he posted a few weeks ago that he had an art burning party, which, well...
No!
I know! As an artist, I totally understand the importance of that symbolic gesture. You know, he said that in his opinion, he looks at, you know, artists are our own worst critics. We all think we have done terrible work. And, you know, he looks back at his early issues of Invincible and he just hates them. He just sees all the things he did wrong, all of the stuff that he's improved. And so he, as he put it, had stacks of bad art that he didn't want to sell because he didn't want his name out there on this bad art. So he and his friend got together and had a art burning party where he burned all of these pages of art that he felt were bad and he wasn't proud of. And he wanted to clear that out. And it's a very symbolic thing, and I understand why he did it. And obviously support that. But I have to admit, seeing the pictures of him burning pages from Invincible made me want to shed a little tear.
I can understand that, and just to quickly delve into that before we finish up with Invincible and move to our next segment, which is going to be a regular segment for a while. I just want to say, as a writer and as a musician, I also understand. You hate it when work that you think you've done better than, when a short story that I wrote that, oh God, I can write better than that now, is out there, you kind of cringe. Or when a song that I've recorded years ago, people email me to tell me that they still have it or they like it or whatever. I'm like, oh man, God, I've gotten so much better at writing, at recording, at mixing, what have you. But on the other hand, I would also say, from an artist's perspective, that when art goes public, when you let other people besides yourself and your other collaborators see it, in a sense it becomes theirs, that it's no longer just yours. It's now part of the human experience, even if it's only 8 other people that experience it. And by the way, here's my little pep talk. All of you out there who want to be writers, want to be artists, just do it, man. I've got a lot of books. They're not on comics, they're on pro audio, and I've got a novel out, urban fantasy. You just do it. You just do it. You keep writing, keep doing your art. That's how you get better. That's how you get out there. So anyway, I would say that while I understand and sympathize completely with Ryan Ottley's position of being embarrassed by his early stuff, I wouldn't obsess about the old stuff because not being as good as what he can do now, because
I think that's why he did the burning, to just
get
it
he
done,
wanted it out of there. He wanted it. I
Gesture.
understand. Sure, I understand that, and I appreciate that from an artist's perspective. But I would also say, you know what? If someone else loves it, if you want to burn something and someone else says, "Hey, that moved me when I was, whatever, 20 or 18, 15, 13, 40, whatever." That really moves me, that panel. It has great emotional meaning to me, and I would like it. You know what? Don't be embarrassed. I mean, you moved somebody, and you've moved on. You're better. That's great. That's your journey as the artist, and that's awesome. But if it affects somebody else, even if it's not what you're capable of today, just take the compliment and run with it. And, if you can make a few bucks on it, then that's fine as well. So anyway, if you're not reading Invincible and you like superhero comics, so far I've read the Ultimate Collections 1, 2, 3. I can't wait for 4. When I catch up, I'm going to be following monthly because I really, really love this. It's even at its darkest moments, and there are dark, dark moments in this series.
Well,
there's some darkness in
okay.
Volume 3. When you read it, you'll see what I mean. But there's always light. I mean, no matter how dark it gets, the sun is always up. You always know he's just such a good guy, and he's always doing the right thing, and there's just such... And people love him, and even if he looks like he can't get out of something, people are going to go out of their way to help him because they love him.
You're such a damn optimist.
It's don't tell anyone, I'll lose all my goth points.
You will.
But seriously, I think that there's just something... the world has enough downers in it. I love reading stories that sort of reignite your hope in humanity, and that's what I think the best superhero comics do. They give us a template of both how we can live our lives and what we should strive for, and how there is light at the end of a tunnel, even if we're not able to see it from where we stand.
I agree. Invincible is a lot of fun. It's definitely worth picking up.
All right, so for the next number of weeks here, probably a fair number of weeks because there's a lot of categories, you are going to be doing